We are now thrilled to be joined here in the second segment by former NHL goaltender Ryan Miller from California, right? Is that where you're joining us right now? Not to give away your location.
Yeah, hanging outside LA in California.
Nice. So we wanted to have Ryan on. Last week, the Buffalo Sabres honored him for his incredible career by raising the number 30 into the rafters. And I have to imagine, Ryan, I was reading some of the quotes that you said, going back to when you signed with Buffalo and seeing some of the other names and numbers up there and allowing yourself to think, hey, maybe one day that could be me. What was it like for you in the moment? I just imagine how surreal that would be.
Yeah, it's hard to put the words. It is kind of surreal. And that story, I feel like, I had this recollection of, I think it's just like any building you walk into, you take it all in. But like I was signing a contract there. I'd never really been in that arena before. I'd been to other arenas, been like at the time Joe Louis was, still around. You go in there and there's all kinds of history. And I'd been to the Garden. I've been to before they tore it down in Toronto, and even in Boston, same thing. Like, there's certain times you walk into a building and you just take it all in. So I was signing that contract. It's like I'm just standing in the middle of the rink because the ice is out. They're doing maintenance and cleaning up. It was off season, and I just remember trying to picture myself like, okay, the crowd's here. You're looking around, you see a couple things, and then your eyes drawn up there. And I do remember kind of thinking like, well, I'm signing this contract now. Wouldn't that be amazing to have the kind of career where, I could join that group? So it is very surreal, and extremely proud of my time in Buffalo. And, I think reconnecting with the city in the last, few months has been extra special.
Yeah, it's a kind of a crazy time not crazy, but it's a good time to do that given how things have gone for the team over the last few months. Like your timing's been solid. What's it been like as you've reconnected with Buffalo and maybe the org a little bit to kind of see the upswing in the on ice stuff there?
I mean, they certainly deserve it. I think they've had a long spell here where they're trying to find the right direction. But I can say from being around the team just a little bit more, and it seems like there's a lot more of a positive buzz, and there's a feeling that they have a good mix there. And you can tell like the players are, they're buying into it. They all care about each other, and the little things are there too. Like I told a little story quickly, in between periods. I went to the Ducks game and they had me on the TV there. But after that first game, I brought Bodie, my son, down. We were taking the chance that overtime would go well. Like they tied the game. Okay, we just went down. He was like giving me a hard time because he was like, I want to watch the end of the game. We have to be in transit. We're going down the elevator. We're watching on TV in the elevator, hoping that either they score or they don't get scored on. He's like, I wanted to, watch it live. I go, dude, like we got to take the chance here. Like if they score and they win, this is going to be awesome. Like we're taking the chance. You got to take a chance in life, right, bud? Like you got to put yourself out there. Something good might happen. And like, sure enough, we get down there and we're just saying hi to some of the guys who weren't dressed that night and saying, kind of cruising into the back room. And boom, they score. Custance scores. And place goes nuts. And, it was a great moment. Got to go out and, I just wanted to be there for the guys. And then, Akposo waves me out and, we have a nice little moment on the ice with a group of guys. And it was a really cool night. But then coming off, like a little moment that you don't see is the guys are doing their first, second, third star. And, I'm kind of walking down the hallway saying hi to the guys that already cleared and kind of going into the room, and some of the staff coming off who have, were there since I was there. And, in that moment, Bodie kind of got behind me a little because he was kind of awestruck. The guys are in their gear. They're sitting around. Like he's just kind of looking. And Custance came over, gave him like, hey, bud, how you doing? And gave him a stick. And he already was holding like the game puck. They gave him the game-winning goal puck. The Custance scored that goal. Gives him the stick. And it's just like, I don't know. It was like he kind of understood. Like, okay, big moment for us as a team. Hey, there's a little kid here. Like, like you didn't have to do that. I just think it just, I don't know. And with Octoso and Craig Anderson, a few of the guys, it just feels like they kind of have a little bit better culture thing going.
For sure. And you can feel like, and I think they were pretty intentional about who they brought in. Like even like a guy like Alex Tuck, who we love, and it's like such a good dude. Like I don't know,
made a point to say hi and like connect and talk. And like a lot of those guys, they made a point to say like, there really hasn't been that in the last few years. Even when I come in town just to play, it's like, not that you have to say hi to me, but it's like I'm saying hi to like everyone I know over there. I've been in Buffalo a long time.
They should probably say hi.
No, and it's just like
I feel like you give you
no, I know, but it's just like this feeling of I just don't think they had that same feeling, right? Yeah. I'll give them benefit of the doubt, but it's just kind of like I'm already around. I'm saying hi to everybody I know. We're having fun. We're smiling. It's an okay time to say hi, and it just seemed like they didn't have that confidence and that feeling, and it's definitely something different there now where they have this. They're stepping up. They have a confidence.
We definitely just go out of our way to like ask for guys from that organization to come on with us at this point, right? We've had Tuck on, he was great.
Yeah,
we've had Don on a couple times.
We've had
Tage on. Like the whole the vibes there are off the charts good. Right now it seems like, which is it's a necessary thing. But like how much of that is the mix of personalities that are there, and how much of that just comes from stringing together some wins, because I mean that's got to be part of it too. Right. They're good, and they haven't been good in this way for a long time.
Yeah, chicken or the egg, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, winning is fun, right? So it's hard to discount that. And you got guys who are just feeling it, but it does take the right mix. You could argue a lot of those guys aren't going to be able to feel comfortable and do what they're doing without that right mix. And I think that's same said for our group when we were there.
Yeah.
No one expected us to do anything. And we were considered all good prospects, but were we all top of the league prospects? Were we all like the guys who were supposed to do it? I could argue no, until we started to get a feeling about each other. And then people started to kind of say, oh, okay, well, they're good. So
right.
I think a lot of it comes down to that mix, that vibe, and the way you feel about your teammates, the way you feel about the city you play in. And, that's kind of the point I was trying to get across my remarks is, Buffalo's that kind of city where you have that expectation. You kind of want to do more because there's so much passion for the sport. There's so much passion in the crowd. And it was good. Like some of these guys haven't seen that yet. And they're starting to see the fans click in a little bit more and pay attention more, and that's good for them.
It feels like the expectation there is always that like they expect you to care. Like is it more there sure. with like they want you to know how important it is to them, and maybe they want it to be as important to you, right? I don't know if you see that in a lot of other places quite in the same way.
Yeah, I mean, there's always, I think every city has a certain expectation of win. I mean, there's probably a few places where they're going to give you a benefit of the doubt, but almost every place they expect you to win. But I do like that Buffalo mixes in that, well, we want you to win. We definitely expect for you to win at some point, but they want you to definitely buy in and care and be a part of things and feel like you're one of them, they're one of you, and everybody's in it together, and then you can be off and running, I guess.
How old's Bodie now?
He's 7. He'll be 8 in March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just love the shot. It was the picture from behind. It's you and the fam and the 30 going into the air. And like to have him at this age where I'm trying to think if my kids remember 7, like a moment like that, he'll remember. And like how much more special is it to have that experience with him? And go through that with him.
Well, I was feeling bad for a while there because he was prime age to feel like a little locker room rat during the pandemic, right? Like I was still I was still playing. We're in Anaheim. Like he knew all the guys from the previous 2 seasons, and then I feel like he kind of lost out on that prime time when he could really skate and play hockey now. And we had him on the ice a few times where he could sort of play and the guys would mess with him. But like, he can really rip around the ice now. And it would have been prime for, to mess around with the guys and really kind of get that confidence up there. But you just couldn't bring the families to the rink. Couldn't have them on the ice. Couldn't have extra people around who weren't under protocol. Just all that, messy stuff that went along with the pandemic. So, this is a big moment for him where he could be a part of something. And we got back to Buffalo in the spring last year to kind of show him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice that he gets to see the crowd and take it all in and understand like kind of the real world Buffalo, not the folklore of our family Buffalo, where it's hard, kids, you got to imagine like a kid doesn't experience something, like how are they going to process it? So this has been, it's been nice in a way. It's like shows him a window into Noreen and my life in Buffalo. Like, here's our friends that you've never met, a lot of them. Here's a lot of the people around the organization who are also our friends, but like, here's a chance to meet them. And here's what the team looks like now, but here's the crowd. Like, basically, like, here's the crowd, here's the city, like, here's the vibe. This is what we did for many, many years. And it kind of helps him understand his parents, understand his dad.
Was there a moment where you looked at Craig Anderson and said, hey, he's still doing it, I could hop back out there?
Yeah, we had a lot of moments together where we've been doing that. I've seen him a fair amount in the last, not a fair amount, but like when I was in Buffalo the last few times, I've seen him, and I saw him on the road in Vancouver in October. I went up there to do some stuff with the Sabres and when they were in town. And then on this trip, and, it is kind of funny in a way. Like, we played against each other in juniors in the North American League, and he went to the OHL. I went to college. Then, he started pro, I think, the year prior to me. And then I came in, and then we're playing against each other in the American League for a number of years. And when he was in Norfolk, and it was just funny to kind of have so many years crossing paths, and then he's maintained a level. He's played great hockey. He's still doing it, and I just couldn't imagine doing the routine right now.
Yeah.
So it's amazing that he's able to have the discipline to do that. I just was starting to feel like I was losing that. That edge where you stay in peak shape, it gets to be a grind after a little while.
Mm-hmm. Was that like the single biggest thing that made you make the decision, like just that the day to day of it?
Yeah, the day to day of being away from the family, and we had other family goals. We have our daughter Kaya, who's almost 10 months now, and like, that aligned with my retirement. Noreen was pregnant shortly after that. Like, it's like something we wanted to do is we wanted to add to the family. And it wasn't really a great option for us with how busy I was, and Noreen was still trying to have her career going at a certain level. And it's just like, well, we have family goals. I mean, I think, I felt good. I probably could have squeezed a little bit more, but like, what was I squeezing for? Like, I get to be around and present for some stuff. And we definitely are trying to, figure ourselves out now with 2 kids, and I'm done, but it needed to happen for our family goals. And I felt strongly about that. So, now I'm happy with, won't change anything.
All right. I wanted to ask you, which is the better beer, the Mills Pills or the 391 IPA?
I guess it's what you're in the mood for.
Yeah.
Yeah. The IPA was actually, we were talking amongst our family, and the Resurgence Brewery who helped us out, they actually came to us and said, hey, we have this great idea and we can help out with your charity and do some promotions. And we thought that was a cool idea, because coming back to Buffalo, I think you need to have a beer. So
yeah, that's right.
We were talking amongst the family. The IPA was actually really smooth, a little lighter in a way than most time you're thinking about IPA. And it was good. It was tasty.
Did you have a say did you taste test them and say this one's Ryan Miller approved, or did they just slap the label on for you?
They asked me what ones I would prefer, like what style beer. And so that's how they went down that path. And then when we were in town in the spring, or no, not spring, in November, I went back for Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame event. And my dad and I stopped in, and they're like, well, it's going to be a lot like this one we currently have and a lot like this one. We're going to take it down these paths. So it was fun to be kind of surprised when we got there.
That's great.
Yeah.
Was the whole the whole I mean, you're talking about the Buffalo Hall of Fame. I mean, you've knocked out a lot of things like that over the last.
It's been a bit of
over the last few
awards tour.
It's been like a victory tour kind of thing.
Victory lap. That's right.
It's a little bit embarrassing because we've had to get organized and do so much of this, and my family's just kind of like, oh, another thing for you, right? Like,
that's what I wanted to ask. Like, what are the logistics that go into this? Because we hear from other people like, oh, such and such hasn't had his jersey retired because it's like a whole ordeal, and they're trying to get schedules lined up, and
it's
not just like you're like, all right, I'm blocking out 2 months here. Like, let's go.
No, it was like planning a wedding for the jersey retirement. Like I was kind of in the middle of. Helping everyone get organized because we had different groups who wanted to come. Like I had my buddies who I grew up with were very prominent in this week's event, and I had guys from my class at Michigan State, and we had the alumni from the Sabres, and the Sabres helped organize everything. It kind of took it as they're Rich and Amber from the Sabres kind of acted as like, okay, we're just gonna put up like a link with a form on it. You just tell whoever you want to come and do this whole thing, just send information to the link. So we had tickets and start blocking hotels, and it was great. Like the Sabres ended up having like 5 suites open. Like I think only a few people in our party who were like had like 5 or 6 people were in the stands, and then everybody else is hanging out in the suite having a good time. So they did it first class for everybody. They took care of everybody, had some great events on the off nights. So I mean, it was really like, it's funny is like Noreen it has an Indian background. It's like, it was pretty much an Indian wedding. We had like 4 nights of like just events. So got to catch up with a lot of great friends I hadn't seen in a long time. And it gets some of the Buffalo boys I played with, got sent back to town. They did a nice job including them in a lot of the events where they got a lot of great recognition, got to have fun, be around the crowd again. And it's something that I appreciated being in front of the crowd. And I know that we talked about that as a group. Like, it's just, when you play, we all played so long in Buffalo, all the guys who showed up were in Buffalo so long. And it's like, I mean, if you're done for a certain amount of time, or some of the guys got traded or signed elsewhere, it's been 7, 10 plus years for some of these guys being in front of that crowd. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Now that you have a little bit of space between when it happened and now, who were you most mad about leaving Buffalo when you were there? Which player?
Well, I think we did have a good chance. If Drury and Briere's year, where they signed in New York and Philly,
mm-hmm.
I mean, if we could have gotten something done, I mean, our window probably stays open a little bit. And we had a big transition year where like they left and we stumbled, and then we took us a second to get it back till like 2009 and then 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in 2009 I got hurt. Like I missed like 6 to 8 weeks. I had a high ankle sprain, like right in the bulk, right in the fun part of the season, like right in like February, like end of January, February.
Yeah.
So like right before all-star break, and like I was having a really good season too. Like I was feeling good. So, I mean, it took us a while to get our form back after mixing up the lineup, and those 2 guys were our co-captains.
Right.
So the answer is 2 guys.
Yeah. That's how, I don't know how much you were following it when it happened, but like how close was it to you keeping the band together? Do you have any sense of that in talking to those guys?
No, it's just I think it's just a weird time, like I think between management, ownership, the salary cap, and coming out of the lockout, 2 years prior, I think there was a lot of uncertainty about how accelerated the cap would be. I think in that first year, the cap like jumped up, and I think it, in Buffalo was, a small market. I think at the time they're like, oh man, like, will this trend continue? Like, what are we going to be doing about it? I mean, you can't fault anybody too much. I mean, they're trying to make business decisions and keep everything, intact, but purely from a window of opportunity standpoint, it would have been great to get, one more crack at it with this, like that core.
Yeah.
Did you know that they were going to give you a saber at the retirement ceremony?
Well, yeah,
they presented you with the sword. Everyone's like, "Holy shit, Ryan Miller has a sword!"
Yeah, I was trying to let my siblings know not to mess with me anymore. I have a sword. Yeah, no, that's what they give the Hall of Fame. So they stacked in like the Buffalo Sabres Hall of Fame, and that retirement is kind of like that's what they're presenting that for. So, that's the signifier of the Buffalo Sabres Hall of Fame.
It's great. There's photos of you. There's photos. You look psyched to be holding it. You're like, all right.
I mean, how can't you be? You're holding the sword.
How could you not be? Well, I just want to know where the sword is and if I can buy one for myself.
Yeah, that's what you're getting at.
That's something to ask the Sabres organization. They sourced out that sword. So.
Sean, you just got to have a Hall of Fame career.
The thing I have to do is decide to be a Hall of Famer and make the Sabres Hall of Fame.
That's right.
I guess that's what I have to do.
Well, I think anybody can probably buy a sword.
Whatever.
I mean, this is America. You can buy.
It's special to me.
It's America. You can own as many. It's America, right? You can buy as many guns as you want. So
that's a fact.
You might as well have a sword.
It's probably harder to get a sword.
Tougher to buy a sword than a gun.
Ironically, yeah, probably.
The only other thing, I'm not even going to go down that path. I want to, though. This would be a way more fun conversation.
Yeah.
Right. We just ran a story. Sean, I think you were a part of it, that like blew up randomly. It seemed it was about the goalie masks and the best designs. And it just, and like fans love that. And I always am curious how much thought goes into that, from a goalie's perspective. If it's like something you cared about, or did somebody say, I'll handle it. I'm going to be your goalie mask advisor in design.
Well, everybody
had a guy in East Lansing or something that was your guy, or what was that?
I mean, everybody it's funny, like all the guys, if you gave them an opening, everybody on the team would have an idea for the mask, right?
That's right.
No, we'd have fun with it. I would design every single one. Like I would sketch it out. I would draw it out. I would have an idea. Like I would do like full, like sketched out versions of it. And I work with Ray Bishop since college. He's an artist in Michigan, and Ray has done all my masks since my freshman year. And he did all my pro masks. And I would just email him or send him a picture, or what I was thinking, or like just even typing out an idea, like, hey, I have this idea. And we go back and forth on it. And then like, once we got kind of in that final space, I'd just be like, okay, you're the artist, run with it. But sometimes I would have a jumping off point would be more refined, and sometimes it would be really loose. But I always loved to kind of sketch it out and have like, make sure it was going to be like exactly what I had in my head. And the one in, once I got to a team, I always had the tradition of I stick to a design, right? Like I wore the same designs for every team. I'd modify little parts, but it's basically the same. Or we'd mix in a fun mask, but I'd always had the same. Like my Buffalo head mask stayed the same the whole time. Vancouver was basically a nod to the totems in Stanley Park in a way. And then Anaheim was a Ducks, goalie mask, expanded over the whole mask. And we stuck with that for 4 years. Yeah. And I just mixed up the colors. And by the end, I had a gold one, right? Like I did orange, I did white, I did gold. The only one we didn't do was black. We thought that would go too far. Like wouldn't be able to tell what it was. But the gold one actually turned out pretty awesome. I was a little.
I want to Google it while we're talking.
Yeah, I was a little apprehensive about the gold one, but it turned out awesome. And then we did like a matte white version that I thought was really good too. But like the Buffalo one, we kept just playing with the colors and the different materials. And then like I think the sides changed a little bit over the years and then the script of Buffalo was incorporated at a certain point. So,
and I haven't looked at the gold one up close in a while. I remember this one. It was
I'm looking at it now.
It had you and Bodie and Noreen and the dog on the back of it, right?
Yeah, we did like a beach scene.
Oh, this is great. This is really good audio when I'm just like looking at it. And
I'm going to just describe it for you very in detail. People will love it.
Well, then we always had like a fun mask or whatever. Like we did a Star Wars night in Anaheim, and I actually kept that one because I broke the American record wearing that mask for win.
That's really funny.
And so I kept it, but it's funny is like it's Poe Dameron is the pilot or whatever. So he just expanded his mask, and it's usually red, but we made it orange colored. And then all the script on it, we looked, and it's like, they have their own alphabet, right? And I think because you look at all these things, and sure enough, I Googled it, and it's like, oh yeah, Star Wars alphabet for whatever. And so we put like all the same references are spelled out in Star Wars alphabet, like Miller Time is on the back, like all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. So we just like, you have fun with it. I think we did a military night one too, or in Anaheim, which was like a copy of like, we had a former Navy SEAL, Leif, was, embedded with our team, and he was kind of helping us out. He's a friend of Dallas Eakins, but we took his helmet that he wore on like every tour he went on, and we just painted that onto the helmet. Like he brought it in, and we took pictures of it, and it's like put it up, and then we auctioned that one off. So like we've had a lot of fun over the years with the goalie mask stuff.
Get the black, red, and gold one for the Vancouver skate jersey too. I'm seeing here. That seemed like the one you mixed in.
Yeah, that was a mix in. Didn't get to keep that. Had to give that one to the team.
That's what I figured.
Some teams it's easier to pry them away from. I've had the horse trade a little bit over the years. So like for that Star Wars one was going to be sold, and I was like, well, I broke the record. I want it. So I had to trade one of my other ones to them. I usually don't let a lot of my masks go unless they're the one-offs.
That's a big piece. That's a big piece to give away.
Well, that's what I mean. I have horse traded over the years. So the only masks who have really gotten out of my possession, it's like I needed to trade them up. Or like when I left Buffalo, I gave away some masks to guys who helped me out for, like 10, 12 years. That's the only time I've given them away. I have all the other ones.
I guess I didn't realize you had to trade your way back into your mask. I figured that would be like, thanks for your service.
I don't like this at all.
You can usually keep like one for sure, right? Like, but now they have like a backup, or if you do a special edition mask, they're going to sell it off, right? They're going to make it back, and they're going to balance out. They're going to balance out, all the other masks by selling one or two of everybody's.
You got to pay for it somehow.
NHL.
If you're the Canucks, you have to pay for your retro jerseys in one way or another. So you sell Ryan Miller's mask. Makes sense.
They sell everything.
Dude, I know, it's great
for sure. What's next in the Ryan Miller Victory Tour? You got
vacations. We're done.
Nice.
Family time. They're
awesome.
Family deserves some vacation time, especially my wife. She brought a child into the world and has been just waiting for her time. So that, and Bodie's got hockey and stuff. We got to, do the hockey weekends. I think he's got a tournament in February and stuff like that, and maybe some springtime stuff for him. And the baby, she needs to be doing stuff now. She's getting bored of just getting carried around. She's ready to move.
10 months now.
I know, let's get going.
Yeah, she's ready to roll. So yeah, it's just time for everybody to be doing interesting things for a while. I'm still consulting with the NHL and hockey operations, so I owe them some more of my time. I told them I obviously had the Victory Tour, but after the Victory Tour, I would be able to slide into Toronto a few times and then ramp up to playoffs, and then hoping to be around for some of the playoff series to understand kind of how that works a little bit better. Just make sure we're dialed in, ready for all the strange calls that are possible. So
that will happen. 100%.
That will happen, yeah.
So now we can blame you, Ryan,
right.
when we don't agree with any call. We can
great.
say, I know Ryan's in the war room in Toronto right now.
Well, if I'm there, sure, but usually it's just my job is to help the conversation, and if I am in Toronto, I am there, but I don't have the authority to make a final judgment. If I'm there, I can help with any votes that happen, but so you can blame me and you can check to see if I'm in Toronto, and then you can
add it before we start.
Or you can be thrilled with me. I mean, that's how it goes, right? One side's thrilled.
Yeah, everyone.
That's right. That's right.
Pissed. And, yeah.
Well, thanks for doing this, Ryan. Congratulations again on everything, all the well-deserved honors. And I'm glad you're doing some family time. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. And it's been good to reconnect with people. Like, that was the best part about all this victory tour is I haven't seen a lot of these people. And it meant a lot to me in 7-10 years consistently enough. So it's been nice to be around and just to be present.
It's a great excuse.
Yeah.
Oh God, you just bring everybody together. It is like a wedding. You just bring everybody together. It's perfect.
I don't know how many separate friend groups now are like connected, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really great.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Ryan.